guys. I literally waved my hand like you could see it. Oh, speaking of moving, your girl got a new chair. So, very quickly, and then I'll get into my video. I always do, if you're new to my channel, I always do my videos in my sewing room. And recently, I have been using a small piece of our sectional in our living room that we don't use as my sewing chair and like my vlogging chair. And it's just really fat and chunky. And it's like I don't know, like where the back meets the seat, it's like this, so it angles down really strange, and it was time for a new chair. And I have been eyeballing like white leather chairs for some time now, and I finally pulled the trigger on one. And let's just take a look at it. Look how cute this is. I seriously am so in love with it. I got it off Amazon, and it was only like 60 bucks, which if you go anywhere to find a white leather chair, granted, might not be real leather, but it's fine. They're like over $100, and this was cheaper, and it had good reviews, and I'm in love with it. It took me like 15 minutes to assemble. So anyways, good chair, really cute, really comfortable. Okay, so the video that I have been wanting to make for like a week now, I'm going to make today. So if you're new to my channel, I do a lot of TTC videos, which is trying to conceive. So the majority of them on my channel right now are related to that. I've kind of started to incorporate like country lifestyle videos, home decor, like DIY stuff. So go check those out. But here recently, I don't want to say I've taken a break from YouTube because I still watch the same amount of hours a week, I feel like. But I've just kind of like stepped away from obsessing over the fertility videos. And I also take that back because every video I've watched is that. Here, I'll give you a little backstory. So, I've been telling a couple of my friends about the channel that I have, and here recently, one of my friends really encouraged me to share it on my Facebook page. She just said, look, like what you do is really great, and I'm really proud of you, and you know, I admire what you talk about since it's not something that's talked about a lot. So, you know, I think you should share your page. So I did, and I got so much great and positive feedback from all the people on my Facebook page, friends and family, and it's just very interesting to see kind of the people who have struggled with infertility kind of come out of the woodwork, and it's people that you have no idea about. So my main suggestion is to be as open about fertility or infertility as you can, because you'd be surprised of how many resources you could connect with, and how many people that you know and love and have known for years have struggled with the same kind of thing. So don't be shy. I know it becomes sometimes very lonely and really disappointing, and the last thing you want to do is involve everyone in your personal business and then have to answer a bunch of questions, but just putting it out on the line lets people know what's going on, and the people who have experienced it always have really great insight and support to offer you. So I had kind of just briefly explained how infertility and just the process of getting pregnant is something that's never talked about, and it's actually talked about in an opposite way of how easy it is to get pregnant, especially when you grow up going through school, your parents, all that kind of stuff. So today I just wanted to make a video on, you know, the truth about TTC, or trying to conceive, and that, you know, while trying to get pregnant can be really great and it's so fun and it can give you so much positivity in your life, it can also give you the complete opposite. And real quick, I don't want this video to discourage anybody by any means. It's just maybe a way for me to kind of vent a little bit and, you know, lay out on the table a lot of the negatives, because I think our job as women when we're trying to get pregnant is to stay as positive as we can, and to always find hope in any situation, and, you know, reassure ourselves that, you know, we will get pregnant one day, it'll be fine, it'll work out how it's supposed to work out. But the truth is it's not that easy, and it's just not easy, and it's hard to stay positive like that. And for me, you know, we haven't been trying for very long, but to imagine myself in this position a year from now, you know, not having conceived by then, I can't even imagine it. If it's this hard now, I can't imagine how hard it'd be in a year. So just wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit. So if this is, if you're new to TTC and this is the start of your journey, please don't let this freak you out. But it also is important to be realistic, because there's a lot of women and couples that go into their trying to conceive journey and they don't know about the possibilities of having trouble conceiving. So I want to definitely bring that to light. And for all you women out there who have been trying for a long time, I know you will absolutely understand this video and it will totally hit home for you. And you're not alone. And by this point, I'm sure you've watched thousands of YouTube videos as well, and you follow different families and women, and you know that you're not alone. But I feel you, girl. I totally feel you. So my first thing that I want to talk about is how frustrating it is to grow up, go through school, and be taught in health class and from all of your mentors and teachers, and especially your parents, that, oh my gosh, you have to be careful. You don't want to be interacting with a boy in the wrong way because it is so easy to get pregnant. You don't want to ruin your life. You won't be able to go to school. You won't go to college because you'll have a kid. Can you have a job? Are you going to be able to work a full-time job? Is your husband or your boyfriend or your fiance or baby dad going to support you? You don't want that. No, you don't want that. And it's too easy to get pregnant. You don't want that. It literally infuriates me thinking about that, because I was told all of those things. I was told how easy it is to get pregnant and how cautious you have to be, which you have to be cautious for the reason of an unplanned pregnancy, but also a lot of other factors too, and I get that. But it's like instilled in our brain at a young age that it's so easy to get pregnant, and you could pretty well look at a penis and you're pregnant already. So to grow up thinking that, and then to be in the situation I'm in right now, it's so frustrating, because we're like brainwashing all of these young kids, especially little, young girls and young women, that it's going to be easy to get pregnant. And so you grow up and you go through high school and, college, and sometimes years into your adulthood life, thinking that, okay, well, when I want to get pregnant, I'll just stop taking birth control, stop using condoms, and we'll have a baby. And that's not the case. It's so crazy. And there's so many women who are struggling with infertility that it absolutely blows my mind that we're not educating, not kids, but young women or just women in general about infertility, because not only does it affect not having a baby, but there's reasons why women aren't getting pregnant, and those reasons are always associated to biology and science and the reproductive system. So if they're not getting pregnant, there's an issue causing that, and it's an issue within their body that should be fixed. So, to think that these women are finding out these problems within their body until they can't have a baby, I think that's really sad, because, had they been more aware on what to look for and, educated that when you have a cycle, you ovulate, and ovulate is when this, and this happens when you ovulate, and this causes this, and then this many days later you're supposed to expect your period again, and then it starts all over. If they were educated, we were educated on that kind of stuff, you would know that when you get of age to the time that you're thinking about starting a family, you're like, well, I learned this in school and I don't think I'm ovulating, and that should trigger something in their brain, like there is an issue. I need to see my doctor and say, I don't think I'm ovulating. And then maybe the length of time that women spend trying to get pregnant when there is an underlying issue won't be as long, because they know to look for certain signs, and they know how their body is supposed to be acting and what their body is supposed to be doing. So they'll be able to figure it out. I think that is huge, and it's really sad that we're not taught that. You're taught, you get your period, you use a tampon or you use a pad, and it totally freaking sucks, and you bleed everywhere, and you're hormonal, and you're a huge bitch, and then it goes away in a week, and then you have it in another month. But they don't tell you all the stuff that happens in between. They don't tell you what your body is supposed to be doing in between, or what it is doing in between. So I think that's really important. And to be honest with you, up until not long ago, I didn't know that a woman had to ovulate to get pregnant. I just figured you could have sex at any point in your entire life, at any day of the month or week, and you would get pregnant. And that is so not the case. So misinformed. So that's the number one frustration for me, is that so many people don't know about infertility because they were taught, you have sex and you get pregnant and that's it. So that's been kind of infuriating. The next thing that is a hard part of trying to conceive is seeing other people get pregnant when you're not getting pregnant. Now, a lot of women have different thoughts about this. I've seen a lot of people talk about how it's hard for them to see any woman get pregnant. A best friend, a neighbor, just someone on Facebook that posts a pregnancy announcement. And I'm not that way, at least yet. If one of my friends gets pregnant, my initial reaction in my head is I'm so excited for them. And it does cross my mind, and it does kind of upset me because oh man, I want that. I can't wait to, have a pregnancy announcement. And I want that feeling. But I don't feel any kind of major jealousy or resentment towards that. However, I do really, really feel it when I see people getting pregnant that aren't trying, or aren't financially stable, or aren't in a stable relationship, or just aren't in a point in their lives when they're ready for a baby. And that is so frustrating, absolutely frustrating. I understand things happen and not everybody's perfect, and teenagers aren't going to listen to their parents and they won't use condoms and all this kind of stuff. But it's just so frustrating, seeing someone say, well, this was a surprise to us, but we're still thankful. It's I would kill for that, It's so frustrating and it's so annoying. And I think it's very irresponsible, and I don't know. That might be rude, and I know that those women will love their babies, and they do love their babies, and they're thankful for them now, but it's still really frustrating seeing people who aren't ready for kids get pregnant. Because it's I have my shit together. I am in a marriage with someone that I love. We're at a point in our lives when we want to have a baby. We're ready financially, our house is ready, everything, and it's not happening. And, these people who are still living with their parents and they're on and off with their boyfriend, or their boyfriend still drinks a lot and goes out, or he smokes weed or something stupid, and they're pregnant. It's what the heck? Really? So that's very frustrating. Absolutely frustrating. Gets my blood a-boiling when I think about it. Next thing, which is a little controversial, so I won't talk about it much, is there is a lot of stuff going on right now in the world with abortion laws. So, obviously we're not to the point yet where we're considering adoption. At some point, if none of this works out naturally, we would, but, there's so many great people in this world that are parents that are wanting babies that can't have their own and can't afford to go through the adoption system. And, we have women who aren't at risk physically or anything like that getting pregnant, and they're terminating them when there are very capable people out there who would love to have a baby, and they've been trying for years, and that opportunity is taken away from them. So that's something for a different day. And by different day, I mean I'll never talk about that on YouTube probably. But still, I'm definitely pro-life. But next thing that a lot of people don't know when they're trying to conceive and having struggles is the amount of money that they'll possibly end up spending on trying to have a baby. The ovulation tests and the prenatals and the pregnancy tests are expensive by themselves. So that's not including, fertility treatments, IUI, Clomid, all the prescriptions you can get, all the procedures you can get that can cost thousands of dollars. And typically insurance companies don't pay for a dime of that because it's considered a specialty, I think is how they kind of word it, and it's not covered, which is infuriating because if a woman can't get pregnant, there's something wrong with her body. And to me, that's something that health insurance should cover. yeah, that's very frustrating. So, I just think back and, November, October of 2018 is when I started buying ovulation test predictor kits, my prenatals, all my supplements that I had researched, which I'll link that video above here somewhere. And those are not cheap. I mean, my husband would probably kill me if he realized how much money I spent, but it's just separated. But, if you're like me and you have 150-day cycles, if not more, and you're taking ovulation tests every single day, because who knows when you're going to ovulate if you have like 3 periods a year. So I test every single day, and even though, yes, they are pretty inexpensive, you can buy 50 for $10 to $15 off Amazon. Those go by very quickly if you're testing once a day and sometimes twice a day. So, I buy the ovulation tests. I've bought pregnancy tests. I've bought digital ovulation tests, and those are not cheap. My prenatals alone, I mean, I take an expensive prenatal that lasts me 30 days, and they're $30. And I take Vitex, and that costs me $20, and it's like a 90-day supply. I take cranberry supplements and acidophilus, and I now take myoinositol, and all of that adds up really quickly, because if you're not getting pregnant, you're having to replenish that stock, and it just keeps adding up. But you can't not take it, because you know that at some point it will help you and hopefully help you. So you keep taking it, and it's expensive. And so yeah, money, the stress factor of testing every day, and the disappointment of getting negative ovulation tests and negative pregnancy tests. That's really sad. And even if you've mentally prepared yourself, and maybe you even know you're not pregnant and you're not ovulating, still seeing that negative is really disappointing and totally sucks. So there's a lot of stress that is involved with trying to conceive, and as we all know, stress does not help at all. It actually hinders. So then you're trying to fight yourself and de-stress a little bit, but it's always there and it's always lingering. I don't think there's any way to get rid of all that stress while you're trying to conceive, because there's so much pressure and so much you have to do. So same thing with emotions, up and down all the time. Disappointment, then you get excited, then you're hopeful, and then you're let down, and it's just back and forth all the time. I feel like I do a pretty well job of balancing that, but no one's perfect, and I know I could never do it the best. But a couple other things I wrote down is, kind of related to the things that hinder women getting pregnant, like PCOS, endometriosis, thyroid issues. That's a whole other ball game that they have to address. And then on top of that, they're trying to get pregnant. So they're, these women are trying to beat all of these odds just to have a family. And it's heartwarming to think about, because the love that they have for their potential baby. But it's really sad too, because, they're having to hurdle so much more than some of us, and, we're still not getting pregnant. So my heart goes out to those people for sure. And my last thing that I'll talk about is, two things. One is answering other people's questions. That's been really interesting to me, because naturally after you get married, or if you're with someone you love and you're at the age of when it's typical for women to get pregnant, you're asked all the time, when are you guys having babies? Oh my gosh, you guys would have the cutest babies. So when are you going to get pregnant? And it's such an exciting question, but for women who are struggling to get pregnant, it's such a sad answer, because, all we want to do is say, oh, I am pregnant, or I wish I was pregnant, but we just don't have an answer. I mean, I've learned that all I typically say is, well, we're trying, so hopefully soon, knowing in the back of my head that I don't actually know when it's ever going to happen. So that's definitely hard to answer, and you never know when those questions are going to come. You never know when you're going to run into someone. So you could be having a bad day and just started your period when you thought you were pregnant, and then you run into someone that you haven't seen in a while, and they immediately ask you, oh my gosh, when are you going to have a baby? And you just like want to punch them in their face with something soft, because you don't want to hurt them, but you still do. And then the last thing, which is definitely particular to me, is irregular cycles. So kind of like the PCOS and endometriosis stuff. It's a whole nother ballgame that, you know, I'm having to figure out with my body, and I need to regulate my cycle in order to accurately track my ovulation, and, you know, my body's just not doing what it's supposed to be doing. So that's a whole nother stress. And it's like, you know, I just want to focus on trying to have a baby, but I can't do that when my body is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. And that is so frustrating. And, you know, like, you go through high school and you dread your period because it's just a sucky week and you're bleeding and it's stupid. And then now I'm just like, like, where are you, period? Like, come back. Spent over 150 days and you haven't shown your face. And I just want to feel like my body is doing something right when I, you know, I'm not pregnant. So there's just so many factors when you're trying to conceive, and it can be really depressing and disappointing and stressful, yet super exciting because you know what the outcome will be. And poor husbands, like, my poor husband, I talk about this nonstop, but I always tell him he drag races motorcycles and all he talks about is bikes. And I was like, now you know how I feel when all I hear is bikes, 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 and you're hearing babies, 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 babies. So we're on equal playing ground now. But he's super great. He's definitely the optimistic one as far as this goes. And he's the typical type that he's like, don't stress about it. It'll happen when it happens. And then, like, the more I tell him about the biology part of my body and what it's not doing, he was like, oh. You know, you can kind of see, like, okay, maybe it isn't as easy as I thought it was, but he's hanging in there with me, so he's pretty awesome. But anyways, here's my new mug. Are you kidding me right now? Oh my gosh, I said now. I should have said meow. Are you kidding me right, meow? He let me buy that. Not that I don't have 5,000 other mugs. It's fine. So anyways, that's my venting session and the truth about TTC. But, you know, for us women who are at this point where we're watching these videos, all hours that we have of the day that are free, we're in it for the long haul. We know these things exist. We know the frustrations and the hurdles that we have to go over to get that baby. So I know you women watching this are like, oh my gosh, I know. And like I said, if you're new to the TTC world, don't let this discourage you at all. You could be that, like, that ray of sunshine that it takes one try to get pregnant, and I will be jealous of you for the rest of my life, but also very happy for you for the rest of my life. So anyways, if you have not subscribed to me, definitely hit that subscribe button, and I will be posting more videos. I'm going to do a review, which reminds me. Surprise! Not ovulating. I had taken that and started my video while it was processing and just looked at it. Example A. Example freaking A. Anyways, I don't even know what I was saying because I'm annoyed now. That's why. I'll be doing a review on the Clear Blue Digital. I have the pink version. They also make an advanced digital, but I definitely want to let you guys know what I think about this in a video, so that will be short. Like I always say, I know, Mackenzie, you always say that it's going to be short, and it ends up 24 minutes long now. So, but that review will probably be like 5 to 10 minutes, if that. I've been trying to cut down on the length of time that my videos last, but you can tell how that's working. Just a lot to say out of this mouth right here. Also, I think my hair is getting shorter. Just in case you were wondering. Great. Okay, I am gonna go do something until my husband gets home. Thank you guys for watching. Leave comments down below if you like this video, or give it a thumbs up. And if there is a frustration that I did not mention, I know whatever you're about to say is probably extremely accurate, so leave it below. And I will see you next time. Thanks, guys.